Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the question and answer session for the call to artists for the basketball court murals at Malcolm X Park. As a reminder, we are recording this session. We have interpretation available in Spanish, Haitian Creole, Mandarin, Cantonese, and closed captioning. You can access interpretation by clicking the globe icon in your meeting controls toolbar and then selecting the language you'd like to hear. To access the captioning, you can click the CC icon in your toolbar. We're going to pause for a minute so that the interpreters can invite people to join them on their channels. Let's start with Cantonese, then Mandarin, then Spanish, and then Haitian Creole.
歡迎大家嚟參加呢個問答會。咁我哋呢個會議咧係有翻譯服務嘅。如果你想聽粵語嘅話咧，咁請你點一下熒幕最下邊嗰個工具欄，佢嗰度有個地球。你點咗嗰個地球之後咧，就會見到一個語言嘅列表。咁你揀呢個粵語啦，就係 Cantonese CANTONESE。咁點咗之後，喺會議正式開始嘅時候，你就會聽到粵語翻譯啦。
晚上好，歡迎大家來到我們這個問答的這個會議。我們現在是講的是馬爾科姆 X 公園的一些藝術建築項目。我們這次會議配有幾種語言的翻譯，其中包括一個國語。請大家說國語的人點擊一下那個地球的那個圖案，那個地球就表示是各種語言的圖案。你點一下那個圖案，然後你就去找那個紅色的，看着好像是紅色的是中文，對吧？你就去點一下那個中文，然後他說是點擊那個 interpretation， 但是他也說了是點地球的那個圖案，然後你點一下中文，你就可以接到中文的頻道。一會兒他會把那個中文的頻道給你放在你的屏幕上，然後等你點擊啊，現在還沒有打上去呢啊，稍等一下。
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a este llamado a los artistas para el Parque de Malcolm X en las canchas de básquetbol. Bienvenidos todos y gracias por su paciencia en lo que esperamos a que todos los intérpretes hagan su anuncio. Para tener acceso a la interpretación, por favor vayan a la parte inferior de su pantalla, van a hacer clic en Interpretation cuando vean un globito, todavía no está ahí, y después van a seleccionar español. Y si ven 3 puntitos, por favor opriman esos 3 puntitos, después seleccionan su idioma y después le dan OK. Muchas gracias por su paciencia.
Bienvenue, bonsoir tout le monde. Bienvenue dans l'appel pour artistes et pour basketball et avec Parc Malcolm X. Et que nous venons pour nous capables de faire répondre avec quelques questions que gagnent dans la session 1. Donc, nous disons bienvenue à tout le monde pour asseoir et que nous gagnons interprétation en langue espagnole, créole haïtien, mandarin, cantonais avec caption. Et que si, par exemple, tu as besoin d'interprétation en créole, vous êtes capable de cliquer sur le boulon qui fait globe blanc pour capable prendre caption et pour faire ces actions et pour peser, cliquer sur ça qui dit toolbar TOOBAR et puis vous êtes capable de choisir la langue que vous voulez entendre réunion ça que nous avons fait là à soir. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much. So if you'd like interpretation, please go ahead and select your preferred language in the toolbar. Okay, let's move to the next slide. To start, we'd love to introduce ourselves. My name is Karen Goodfellow. I use the She series, and I'm the Director of Public Art in the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture.
Hi, everybody. My name is Christina McGeehan, and I use the She series, and I'm the Director of Communications for the Office of Arts and Culture.
Hello, everybody. My name is Amber Torres. I'm the Public Art Project Manager, and I use the She series.
Hi, I'm Sarah Rodrigo. I'm the Senior Public Art Project Manager, and I also use the She series.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Liza Quinones, and I am the mural consultant with the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture.
The City of Boston has done a lot of work related to public art for the past decade, including updating our public art policies and procedures, redefining our understanding of what public art is and could be, and examining the gaps in the city's public art landscape. In the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture, we have commissioned artists to create many new public art projects in the last several years, and there are many more in the pipeline. I'm very happy now to hand it over to Liza Quinones, who is the project manager for this commission and with whom we are always thrilled to be able to work.
Thanks, Karen. I'm very happy to also be part of the team. So again, good evening, everyone. The call to artists that we have out right now is for 3 long-term public art projects for basketball court murals at Malcolm X Park, which are currently under construction. An artist and or artist team can apply to one of the 3 courts that are available for artwork. The renovated park will be open to the public in the spring of 2023. So you'll see on this slide that there are 4 basketball courts in total at Malcolm X Park. Court 4 will be painted and activated with math lines and activities to support younger players with learning math while playing. This court is not part of the call to artists. Courts 1, 2, and 3, plus their retaining walls, will be painted by 3 artists or artist teams chosen through this call. This is a good opportunity for artists and teams with experience in large-scale painting and can collaborate with other artists and the community. The first content page contains the basic information about both the call to artists and the project itself, like the budget, eligibility, and the location. An outline of the call to artists schedule is here for reference, including the date and times of this session. The day we'll be posting answers to all questions, which is next Wednesday, April 20th, and the day the call closes, which is Friday, April 29th at 5 p.m. Eastern. While we will accept applications right up to the deadline, I strongly encourage any artists who are applying to complete their submission before that deadline, as Submittable can get overwhelmed by a large number of submissions at the same time, and we cannot accept any applications once the call closes. I've learned myself from a personal mistake that even by 5:01, you will not be able to submit an application. So I do encourage you to try and submit as early as possible. This call is open to all artists and artist teams. We have no geographic limitations for this call, but there is a strong preference for artists who have a connection to the Roxbury neighborhood or the theme of the project. Page 3 contains information about the area that the park is located in, which is the Roxbury neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts. We include this information because our commissions are site specific. And while we don't expect anyone to be experts in the area, it's helpful for artists to give some thought to the site context, the surrounding community, and the people who are involved with the project. Roxbury is the geographic heart of Boston, enclosing the center point of the city and located within the traditional homeland of the Massachusetts people. The Washington Park Urban Renewal Program begun in 1963 and doubled the size of the historic Washington Park, which is now named Malcolm X Park. Pages 4 and 5 contain information about the Malcolm X Park renovation project being done by the Department of Parks and Recreation. The project will focus on better connectivity between existing uses, upgrading the amenities, and creating a more inviting and refreshed facility. Among the planned improvements include play areas for ages 2 to 5 and 5 to 12, water play, amphitheater space, 4 basketball courts, and more. This project is the city's first equitable procurement project and has included many community meetings. Construction broke ground and began in March of 2022 and will take approximately 1 year to complete. It's also important to note that adjacent to the park is the Malcolm X Ella Little Collins House. This historic house, located at 72 Dale Street, was built in 1874 and was for many years home to Ella Little Collins, a prominent local civil rights activist, and her younger brother, Malcolm X, during his later teenage years. Malcolm X would become a major leader in the civil rights movement and the Nation of Islam. For the rest of his life, he made frequent visits to his sister's Dale Street home. The house has remained within the family since its purchase in 1941. And in 1998, the Malcolm X Ella Little Collins House was designated a city landmark by Boston's Landmarks Commission, and in 2021 was listed on the National Register of Historic Places. So pages 6 and 7 provide the technical parameters for the long-term artwork, some community survey results, and information on usage of the space. This opportunity is for the large-scale design and installation of a 2D floor mural on basketball courts. Renderings and plans of the site are shown on page 6 of the call, and an image of the current court and the retaining walls can be seen on page 7. The basketball courts are the most desired amenity in the park. Through this call to artists, we are seeking artists and/or artist teams that will capture the essence of the Roxbury neighborhood, its lively community, Malcolm X Park, and the legacy of its namesake. Artists and artist teams will be asked to work together and with the community in the design and development of the court murals. Please note that the drawings are for reference only. All dimensions and locations will be confirmed by the selected artist. Page 8, shown on the left here, outlines the commissioning process. We are currently in step 2. The call is open and we are answering questions. Once the call closes, step 3 will begin, when we convene an artist review working group to review artist submissions and select finalists. Those finalists may be asked to interview virtually, and then the working group will recommend an artist to the Boston Art Commission, also known as the BAC. The BAC will review and vote on that recommendation, and if approved, we will contract with that artist for the project. Page 9, shown on the right, details the overall schedule for the commission. This particular commission is slated to be installed by spring of 2023. The following next 2 pages detail what materials you will need to apply to this commission. These details are also included in the submittable application that we'll review in a moment, but we hope artists can use this list to gather their materials before they begin their submittable application. As typical for our calls to artists, we ask for an artist description, which can be a resume, biography, or other summary of the artist's professional experience. Artists who are applying as a team should clearly identify a team leader and each member of the team. We also ask for up to 10 images of completed projects and an annotated image list providing information about those work samples. For artist teams, please identify the images that show each team member's work. For images containing collaborative works, please be deliberate about which part of the artwork belongs to who. We'll also ask for a statement of interest and initial project concept. At this point, we do not ask for any design work or visual proposals, but instead want applicants to provide a written description of their possible approach or concept for the commission, given the information provided in this call. Please note that including drawings or designs specifically made for this application or this site will lead to disqualification. We also ask artists to submit a narrative diversity and inclusion plan. The City of Boston is committed to ensuring that vendors who work on the city's behalf utilize procurement practices that are fully open to the inclusion of small and local businesses, including small local business enterprises, minority business enterprises, women business enterprises, and veteran-owned small business enterprises. In this section, we are asking you to describe the efforts that you have taken or will take to ensure that your selection of subcontractors and suppliers for this contract will be meaningfully open to such companies. We will also need an itemized budget, and we provide a sample budget template that you can use in the appendix. On page 12, we list the criteria that the Artist Review Working Group will use when reviewing the applications. The core criteria is the curatorial vision for the City of Boston. The curatorial vision for the City of Boston is to foster the creation and collection of artworks that reflect the people, ideas, histories, and futures of Boston, the traditional homeland of the Massachusetts people, and the home of the neighboring Wampanoag and Nipmuc people. We aim to commission and approve artworks that engage communities and directly respond to, enrich, and enliven the urban environment. We seek public art that is driven by an artistically strong vision, enhances the diversity and equity of the existing collection, and possesses durability appropriate to the lifespan of the work. Again, we're looking for artists with a strong artistic vision, and we'll give preference to artists who show a strong connection to the theme or to the area, whether through their artwork or their experience. The following page, which you see on the right, provides more information about the Boston Art Commission and the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture, and offers links to our website and other project-related websites. And now I will hand it over to Sarah, who will walk us through the submittable application process.
Thank you, Liza. Artists have to use the Submittable platform online to apply to this call. This is the top of the landing screen that you'll see on Submittable. I'm going to navigate to the application itself now so that we can walk through that together quickly. And we can share the link in the chat so you can open it on your own if you'd like. Sorry, having a little technical issue here for a moment. If everyone can just stand by, my apologies. Okay, hopefully you can all see the application now. Our review panels will be looking, so start at the top, there's a description, which Liza's already gone over, a link to the PDF, and information that we already saw in the call. We asked for your contact information and a few questions, social media, other information you may want to share. And then we asked for demographic information. Our review panels will be looking at the content of your application, but it's important to our office's goals of equity and inclusion to reach all Bostonians. We're asking for this information so that we know who we're reaching. And you can note that reviewers will have access to this information. So if you don't feel comfortable having them know some particular demographic information, artists can always choose, I prefer not to answer. So we ask age, race and or ethnicity, sexual orientation, whether there are persons with disabilities, languages. Then we get into the criteria that Liza so helpfully went through just a few moments ago. So you can see here that the statement of interest is a text box. This is where you would enter your narrative describing an initial artistic concept for the site, why you're interested in this opportunity, what connection you have to the site or neighborhood, or any specific or unique process. The next section is where artists are asked to upload their artist description files. You can select up to 5 files here. This is where artists can upload their bios, resumes, other documents describing their background and experience. And teams should include information for all members. Here's where artists upload their relevant work samples, can upload up to 10 files. We accept JPEGs, TIFFs, and short MP4s. And again, as Liza helpfully pointed out, please don't include drawings or designs made specifically for this application, as that could lead to disqualification. And the next file upload is the annotated image list, where artists should number their images and then provide a doc or PDF file with associated numbers giving us the title, media, dimensions, location, year the piece was made, a brief description, and your role in the project, whether you're a lead artist, community organizer, or assistant. Then the last upload is the itemized budget file. Again, you can use the template provided in the appendices. And lastly, a text box for the diversity and inclusion plan. That's limited to 500 words. It can be helpful to write these things out elsewhere and then copy and paste into these boxes when you're doing your application. And that's the entirety of it. Artists can save drafts and come back, but as Liza's mentioned a few times, we strongly encourage people to apply early and not wait until the last minute. I'm now going to go back into the presentation, hand it back to Liza and Karen.
Thanks, Sarah. So we are at the end of our presentation. We're now in the question and answer segment of today's session. And so if anybody has any questions, you can enter and type your question into the Q&A box that's within the bottom tools of your Zoom window. You can also raise your hand and speak the question into the space.
Our first question is, if one does not have a large portfolio of murals, can the artist submit renderings for future pieces and concepts not of the courts?
I can jump in here. I would say, yeah, sure. That would be fine to share. I would also recommend sharing some works you have completed, even if they're not all of that scale, just to show what you have accomplished, so that the working group can understand not only what you imagine doing, but what you have done and accomplished.
Again, if there are any additional questions, you can type them into the Q&A box down below, or raise your hand and speak them into the space.
Our next question is, can the artist include work in which they've assisted other artists to show similar scale or surface type that they've worked with?
Yes, that's actually a great question. That goes back to really being able to clearly identify which parts of the work that you worked on. And that would be identified both on your in the images that you submit and upload, as well as the annotated list. So we want to really be able to clearly understand what your skill set is and what parts of that skill set was applied onto the work that you assisted in.
The next question is, if the artist lives in another city, how will they logistically be able to complete the work?
So if the artist lives in another city, the expectation is that you would include a line item in your budget to accommodate for your travel, your lodging, and everything that you need to be in the city to execute the work.
It looks like someone might be raising their hand. It might take me a moment to find that if anybody else wants to jump in.
I can press, there we go.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome. Good evening, y'all. So I hear that collaboration across artists and across teams is really important. And I'm wondering, does that mean that whatever each artist would like to do in the court, they must exist in conversation with the other two courts that would be being designed?
That's a great question, Jonathan. Yes, the expectation. So we'll be commissioning 3 artists or 3 artist teams. And there would be an expectation that each of the artists or artist teams would be in conversation with each other to throughout the design process.
And I think we have one more in the Q&A, Amber. Right.
All right. The budget says that the max is 20% towards the artist, but does this include the fees to pay additional artists who help with the installation?
I would say no. I think it would be reasonable to have about 20% go towards a lead artist and have portions of the budget go towards assistant artists as well. And if anybody has follow-up questions to anything that I'm answering, please feel free to either type that in or speak that into the space as well.
Someone wants to know, is there a type of initial orientation to facilitate the connection between all artist teams?
Yeah, as soon as all of the artists are onboarded and contracted, then we would certainly set up meetings and an orientation of sorts for folks to be in community with each other and coordinate and talk about what their designs will be.
Someone wants to know, is it okay to apply for this project even if the artist is already doing another piece that was approved by the Boston Art Commission?
Yes, you can. We have no restrictions there.
Also, what is the duration of the project?
So there's a rough project schedule timeline on page 9 We are now in the artist selection process and phase. Sorry. And you know, around June, July. Sorry, y'all. Somebody tell my husband to stop calling me. So again, the project schedule is to your right. We are in our selection phase now. The construction of the park itself is going to take about a year. And so from now until then, we would be going through the onboarding process. We'll be going through a design and a community engagement process through that design. And we are anticipating that this artwork would then be installed sometime next spring. The duration of the actual installation is certainly something that we would ask the artist to let us know how long you think it would take for you to install the work. Jonathan, do you still have your hand up for that last question or for an additional one?
Oh, no, I'll lower it now. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Someone wants to know, where can we learn about other future creative community initiatives associated with the park?
That's a great question. I mean, if it's an initiative that's being run by the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture, then you can certainly check out the website at boston.gov/public art. And if there are future projects or creative projects that we are incorporating at this park, then it would be posted there. Aside from that, the website for the Department of Parks and Recreation is posting regular updates on construction and other initiatives that are happening with the park as well. And so I would say that that would be the best place to, you know, check out what's happening in real time at the park itself.
Someone wants to know, is it realistic for someone who has never completed work at this scale to even apply?
I would say that what we're looking for this call is an experienced artist and artist team. And if you're interested, if you don't have the experience, then I would encourage you to team up with somebody who does, if you're interested in applying.
Another comment says, I see that the budget is $150,000 for each court, but am I understanding that it could be less depending on the budget? I didn't catch the entirety of the 25% being allocated to the artists for work.
So the 150K is the full budget for each court. And it's not going to be any less. The 25% is a recommended percentage that is provided in the budget breakdown in how you can allocate your costs.
That's actually 20% is the cap on the artist fee, which is separate from the artist's work that they would be doing potentially on the project. You know, that's not for all of the artist's potential time. It depends on how they allocate different budget items, with if they use subcontractors, how much work they do themselves. So I think it would be helpful to look at the template, and you can always submit additional questions to us if you have questions about the budget through the Google form that we have linked in the call.
What are the dimensions of each court?
Can we go back to that slide? I know it's about 4,200 square feet. I want to say it's about 50 feet wide by 84 feet in length. Yeah, that's tiny. Let me see if I can see it here. Give me 1 second, please. Yeah, it's 84 feet by 50 feet. So it's approximately 4,200 square feet total.
Is there a specific type or brand of paint that all artists will use?
So we don't have any specific or particular brand guidelines for the type of paint that you'll use. What we're looking for is some baseline knowledge and understanding of what an artist or an artist team would use to paint on a pavement or court surface, concrete surface, for the length of time that it needs to be durable and considered a long-term piece of public artwork.
How many applications do you usually get for these types of calls?
That question came up earlier as well. And I think, Karen, you said somewhere between 80 to 100.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some where it's very particular, where we might get as few as 30. But, you know, we generally see in the tens. And for something like the paint box call, last year we got almost 500. But I think for City Hall Plaza, we had 2 opportunities recently and we got far fewer, 30 something, right? So there's a range, and I think it depends how many artists feel like they're a good fit for it. For this one, because it is asking for a pretty particular skill set, we might not see, you know, over 100 applications, but we know we have incredible artists in the area who are great fits for this work, and we really encourage you all to apply.
In the document mentioned surrounding walls on the courts. Are those to be painted as well?
Yes, those are the retaining walls. Some of them vary in size. So the retaining walls, they're anywhere from 1 to 3 feet high. And they span about the same length of the court. So I think we'll give it a little bit more time for any last questions. If there are any questions that are not answered today that you would like to ask, you have until tomorrow to submit them onto a form that's linked on the PDF and on the Submittable. So that would need to be entered by tomorrow, or you can also email Sarah Rodrigo those questions. By April 20th, we'll post all of the answers to the questions that came up in this forum, in this afternoon's forum, and that came in via email. by April 20th. We'll post those on the boston.gov/public art website as well. And then again, we have the deadline on April 29th at 5 p.m.
Okay. I think that's it. Please do reach out and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Good luck.